Namaste, dear students. Welcome to another episode of virtual class. Today we are discussing grade 8 English, that is unit 7, and the title of the unit is journalism. Today we are discussing grammar, that is reported speech. Okay. In our last lesson, we studied about Neil Armstrong, the first person who stepped on the moon surface, right? So today, we are going to report something he said and even something that his family said after his death, okay? So can you turn the page number 71, okay? So there you can see what Neil Armstrong's family said after his demise, when they publicized the death of Neil Armstrong, okay? So let's move on to this. We are heartbroken to share the news that Neil Armstrong has passed away from cardiovascular complications, Armstrong's family said in a statement, right? So this particular sentence, if you say from your side, or if I have to tell other people, how do I tell that? I have to change certain things that will not be appropriate for me to, for me to explain the way or tell the way his family told to the newspaper or media or something like, okay? So in that case, let me try. Let's see here. Armstrong's family said in a statement that, so here there is no that, right? And we, the word we is here, and we have replaced we by using they, okay? So are has been changed into were. Good. Heartbroken to share the news that Neil Armstrong had passed away from cardiovascular complications. Okay, good. So can you get the another sentence there in the book that is stated by somebody, that is told by somebody directly? Oh yes, there is another one. Okay, so before moving on to that, I will describe what we did to change that particular statement by his family, and the way we reported that. During that reporting time, we have made certain changes, right? So firstly, that has been used to connect two parts of the sentence, right? In the sentence, you could see first part a little bit longer, and after that part, when inverted comma ended, there was a comma, and after that there was certain thing before the full stop, right? So that has been used, and the last part is taken to the first part, right? And to connect the last part to the first part, we have used that, right? And then they has been used in place of we. So that word we have been replaced by another word, and the word is that, okay? So the next word that we changed is are, right? And the are has been changed into the word were. Yes, good. And we have also made another change, and that is we have used had instead of using has. Okay, good. So let's move on to another sentence. So he once said, he here in this case is Neil Armstrong himself, right? So what Neil Armstrong once said, so let's have a look. He once said, after that we have a comma here, and inverted comma starts from here, and the thing he has told is here up to the end of this sentence and inverted comma. Okay, so he has said, I am and ever will be an engineer. So there are certain places that we have to change when we report this particular sentence spoken by Neil Armstrong. Okay, so let's see how it goes. He, okay, once said, and that. Okay, again we are using that like in the first sentence. Okay, so he, I is a speaker, right? Speaker talks about himself by saying I, right? So I say, I am Dipendra. So when you say he, you use he instead of I, right? When you talk about something that I spoken, you will say he. And then if my mother says I, and that I will become she instead of he. Okay, so remember this. And am is there, and am has been changed by was. Good. And ever would be. So will is a modal verb, right? The words like will, shall, and then can, may. There are some other words also. Those come into modal verb. So here, in this case, we have will as a modal verb, and that will has been replaced by another word, would. Good. And be an engineer. We don't need any change here because be is the first form that we call the original form, or you can also call it infinitive form, an engineer. So it's the part that does not need any change at all. Okay, so let's move on to another sentence. Okay, so again we have something said by Neil Armstrong himself. So Neil Armstrong said, I feel proud of my profession. So there is nothing different because this sentence is the same. The structure of the sentence is the same. So we have used that again, and he instead of I again, and feel, the present form of verb has been changed into past, right? Felt is the past form of feel. So, and again we have his instead of my. So Armstrong was saying himself, my profession. And when I say that Armstrong's profession, I use his instead of Armstrong's because it is not, Armstrong is not someone who talks in this sentence, okay? Good, yeah. So can we move to the next one? Yeah, it is the most popular sentence, most popular ever sentence spoken by Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong, after his step on the moon, he came back to the earth and he talked to the reporters, right? When he talked to the reporters, he said that is one small step for a man. For him, it was just a step, right? A step of maybe 9 inches, right? A man, one giant leap for mankind. And for the people living in the world, it's a kind of great achievement, right? So Armstrong said that way. And let's see how the sentence can be reported, okay? So Armstrong said that yeah, that can be or remain the same. It can remain the same, but it was is there instead of is, right? And then a small step for a mankind, one giant leap for mankind. So there is nothing more changes in this sentence. So let's move on to the table, right? On the table on page number 73, what you can see, these words in black are in one side of the table, and these words are in another side of the table, right? So this one is direct speech. The first one in black is a direct speech, and this one is indirect one. Okay, the second one is indirect one. Okay, so so let's see what things have changed while changing these sentences into indirect speech. So Ramdev said it's the same, and that is used in order to connect the two parts, the Ramdev said part and I'm doing yoga. These two parts are connected by that, right? So in the second sentence, and then I has been replaced by he, am has been replaced by was, doing yoga is the same. Okay, let's look at the second sentence. Haridev asked, are you a student? Okay, in this case, there is a question mark over here, right? And the word asked is here. So what does it mean? The sentence, the second part of the sentence, that is, are you a student? Are you a student? This particular part is a question sentence. And what do we call this kind of sentences? Oh, yes, yes, no question, you are right. So in case of changing reporting interrogative sentence, what do? We normally use, yeah, if, good, very good. And then rest of the thing, the question sentence changes into SVO. That is something like statement, right? Something like I'm doing yoga. Just you can see subject is there, am doing, verb is there, yoga is there, right? So something is doing something, right? So someone is doing something. And similarly, you have also to change this one in the same format, right? The subject you must come to the front, right? So Haridev asked if, so the subject comes before I, you becomes I. Haridev asked, are you? Somebody ask you means when you report as yourself, I, right? So R changes into was a student, right? So we have made certain changes here. The main change here is if and changing the interrogative sentence into something like statement, okay? That uses the subject in the front and then the verb and then the object, okay? So the next statement is, or next sentence is, Sarita asked, where do you live? So again we have asked here, but the sentence starts with where. What do we call such words? Yes, WH, interrogative pronoun, right, correctly said. So this WH interrogative pronoun makes this sentence an interrogative sentence again, right? This kind of interrogative question sentences are called WH questions. Good, good. They are all popularly known as WH questions, okay? So what happens when we have a WH question to be reported? Okay, so let's see. Sarita is there and asked is already there. And where now becomes the WH interrogative pronoun. Now here becomes WH that it starts with R, a relative pronoun. Good. So this time the same word where, that was WH interrogative pronoun in the sentence, it becomes WH relative pronoun while changing that into an indirect speech, okay? So, and then I is used instead of you, and live becomes lived, right? The present tense moves to past tense. Present verb so has to be, yeah, past verb. Thank you. So let's move on to the last sentence here. And the sentence is, Anuj said to me. Anuj said to me. So in the previous cases, we had no other words after the verb, right? We have said here and asked here and asked here, and this time we have said to, right? So let's see how we deal with it. Okay. So Anuj told. The same word said to is replaced by another word, told. Good. Me, that I was lucky. So you becomes I, and because this person, Anuj, is talking to me, right? So when he says you, Anuj is referring to, you is referring to me, right? You and me are equal in this part. Okay. So I is the person who listens to, and this time I is the person who is reporting. Okay. So I was lucky. Thank you. So let's move on to the next one. So when we looked at the table, we noticed certain changes, right? Changes in what changes do we made? Okay. Firstly, the reporting verbs, the verbs in the first part of the sentence, and then we did change with, okay, we used connector, very good. And thirdly, we also changed some pronouns. Yes, something like I changed into he or she, and then you changed into I, and then we changed into they. Those were the changes we tried, right? And then after that, yes, we also had some change in case of tense. Very good. So in case of tense, we used past tense, and our modal verbs also, we changed modal verbs into, past modal verbs. Okay, good. So let's see what kind of changes we can make with the reporting verbs. Okay. So if you have a sentence sentence as statement means there is a subject at the front and then verb, and finally we have, if we have the object in a sentence, something like Ram eats rice. Ram is the subject, eats is the verb, rice. If we have something like this kind of sentence, we call it statement, right? So if we have statements and we have said to, if you have said only, there is no problem. We can keep this keep said the same. But if we have said to together, we have to change said to into told. Good. And if you have interrogative sentences means sentences those ask us question. The words like said or said to change into, or they change into words like asked or inquired or questioned or wanted to know or something, some other words also can be there. Those are referring to question, right? So, and then we can also sometimes have said or said to change into ordered or commanded, sometimes requested, sometimes ordered, sometimes recommended, sometimes this kind of words can be used when the sentence is imperative, right? So if a sentence is something like, please help me. So what can you do? Yeah, in that case, you can change the verb into requested. Good. And then if you have sit down, if it is told by your teacher, what is it? Order. Is it an order? Yeah, request. Okay, you can consider any. So especially we call it order, right? Because your teacher is someone who is to be followed. Okay, so there are some other example of imperative sentences also. So we will talk it later when we do the exercises. Here are some other changes we did. during our attempt to find out what changes are there in the table, right? So the use of that is was there, and the word that was used in order to connect the first part and the second part when the second part was statement. Good. Secondly, we used if, and if also can be replaced by whether, or if or whether. These two words can, either of these two words can be used. Either you can use if or you can use whether. In case the sentence that you are going to connect or you are going to report is something as no question, right? That starts with auxiliary verb. Something like, are you a student, is a as no question. Good. So, and the third thing that we noticed was WH question used the same interrogative pronoun. The interrogative pronoun where was the same, right? But the second time it worked as a relative pronoun. Very good. And imperative sentences use to connect the two sides. If the sentence is affirmative, there is no any symptom of negativity. Negative words, something like no, not, never, kind of words is not there. We use to, and if such words are there, we use not to. Okay, got it? Good. So now let's move on to another change that we did or that we noticed while observing the table. And the change was, change in pronoun. Good. And we noticed that I was changing sometimes to he, sometimes to you. Okay. Sometimes you was replaced by I. Okay. That was a kind of pronoun change, right? So normally what we do, there will be I and we. These are called first person pronoun. The first person pronoun are words those refer to speaker, right? If I'm speaking, I say I for myself. And if I have some other friends together, let's say maybe 4 or 5 friends together, what I say, we are going to organize a party. We are moving to Chitwan next week. We are playing. We are doing this, right? So when I am with other friends or other people, I say we, and if I refer to myself and if I talk about my personal opinion, I say I, right? So I or we change according to the subject in this in the first part. Means if you say Ram said to me, comma, we always have comma in direct speech, and there will be an inverted comma. I went to Pokhara yesterday. So this is the first part and this is the second part, right? So this is something spoken by Ram, right? So Ram is speaking here, and Ram calls himself I, right? And I, in this case, can be equally considered as Ram, right? So let's see how the pronoun changes. Okay, so the sentence will be Ram said to changes into told, like in our last sentence. Okay, me, and we will use that. Good. That as a connector to join two parts together, and then I changes into Ram, right? So when I report about Ram, how I report him? Do I call him you? No. Do I call him she? He. Okay, good. he. And then we have past verb here, went. Went is the past form of good, go. Go, went, and gone, good. So we will have had and then gone to Pokhara. The last part of the sentence is yesterday, right? So how can we change this word? Let me try. And I change this way. Maybe the day, what can be? Before, brilliant. Before, the day before. So we tried one more change that was not in the table, right? Good. And then you changes according to the subject in the first part. So if we use you instead of you went to Pokhara, and you would be the person who listens to, right? Person who listens to means the object of the first part, the person who listens to, right? Ram is speaking and me is listening to. So if we use you instead of doing that, let me write this. The same sentence, Ram said to me, you went to Pokhara. So, he went to Pokhara. So, let's see how it will be, how you will be changed, right? This time we will change you only, look at it only. So, the first part remains the same. Ram told me, then that. You now this time goes with me, and it is the subject form, right? So you cannot write me instead of, what is the subject form of me? I, good. I had gone to Pokhara. So it sounds a little bit odd, right? Because he is talking about me rather than talking about himself. Okay? So, and maybe he's trying to make sure certain thing, okay? Make sure whether I went to Pokhara or not. And if you have third person pronoun that we talk about something, something or some other people, we will make no change in the pronouns, okay? The words like he, she, it, they are called third person pronoun, and they are called third person pronoun because they are something that the speaker talk to the listener. Good. Neither they refer to the speaker himself or to the listener. Okay. So there will be no change of pronouns if we have third person pronouns. Okay. So let's move on to change in tenses. So you must have noticed that there were certain changes, and especially there were changes in tense related to past tense and present tense. Those changed into past tense. Okay, the present tenses, the sentences in present tense were changed into past tense. Similarly, modal verbs will. In one case, we saw that will was changed into would. Very good. And can also could be changed into could, and may can be changed into might. Okay, good. So let's move on to other things that we did, right? So sometimes we also have to change adverbials, right? Adverbs also. If we have these, that changes into that, and these, the plural of these changes into those. The words like yesterday changes into the day before, now changes into then. If we have tomorrow, changes into the next day. Maybe today changes into that day. There are some other words also we have to change while changing into indirect speech. Good. So let's move on to the exercise. This is the time for us to deal with the exercise. Okay. So let's look at the first one. And can you try? Can you try for the first one? The first one is Purna said, I have done my homework. I have done my homework. Can you try? Okay, so you can tell me and I will write whatever you say, okay? So, Purna is your first word. The first word is, yeah, P-U-R-N-A. Purna said, okay? So that, good, very good, that. And the pronoun is I, and I goes with a speaker, this one. Okay, so Purna is he this time. And then had in place of have. Very good. Yeah, we had an example before. Okay, good. You remembered it. Had, he had done. So my changes into his. Brilliant. His. Sorry, it has been him. So let me make it done his homework. Okay, Homework. Homework. Brilliant. So can we try the second one also? So this time we have a question sentence. Remember how to change said to, okay? Oh, so let's move on to number B. Number B is Rita said to, who is Rita talking to? Okay, me, said to me, and comma and inverted comma. And what is the statement? Okay, what's your name? It's not a statement, but a question. What's your name? Question mark, right? So this time the answer will be Rita. So what will be, good, asked. Yeah, in place of asked, you can also use other words, something like questions, questioned, or wanted to know kind of words can be there. Asked me, and what next? What? Very good. What? And then you have to write this one before verb, right? So your means you comes to the listener, right? This time listener is me. So it will be my. What my name? So the verb is here is. So it changes into was. Very good. What my name was. Should I place question mark? A full stop. Good. Why? Because it is not a question sentence anymore. Good. Good. So let's move on to number C. The teacher said to the students, stand up. The teacher said to the students, then we have comma and inverted comma, and it is a stand up. So what is the teacher trying? What is the teacher doing? Is he threatening? No. Is he requesting? Is he requesting the students? No. Okay. So the teacher may be ordered, right? Stand up is an order. So you can change this way. The teacher said to can be ordered, or can you change it into told only? Told the students? Yeah, you can do as well. but ordered can be better because sometimes teachers order us, right? Ordered the students that, no that this time. Okay, can you think other? There is something related to imperative sentence. Oh yes, to. Very good. Good. You are very intelligent. To, and then you have to use the verb there. Stand and up. Right? So this is done. So can you do number D yourself? Okay. So when you do that, I will copy the question. So let me copy the sentence. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to D, right? Here you have the father said to his daughter, and this time father is talking to his daughter, and so speaker I is father, and this sentence is a statement. So yeah, you can use that in between to connect them. So the sentence will be the father told, said to changes into told his daughter that. So you can use that here. And I, who is I? Ah, father, very good. So can we use C? No, he for his father, good. Was will be there in place of M, and happy with you. Who is you? Daughter, right? So can we use C here? With C? No, with her. Brilliant, good. So the next question is, the next task is Kamala asked, have you finished your homework? Is this a WH question? No. S no question? Yes, it is. Good. So Kamala asked, how do we connect when we have S no question? Yeah, using if or whether. So you can use if or whether. You can choose any. So the sentence will be, Kamala asked if I had finished my homework. Brilliant. Your answer is absolutely right. So dear students, you produced brilliant answer this time. So these are some of the things we discuss, and rest of the other C to others, or the rest of the other you will do at home as homework, right? You have to practice. This time what you need to do is, you have to first think who might be the speaker, right? Who might be the speaker, either your father or your mother, but not others, because the question says, share the ideas and report to each other what your parents tell you, right? The question itself talks about whether the speaker can be father or it can be the mother, but no other. Okay? So I can lose anything in the world easily, but not you. Who might be the speaker, your father or mother? But not you. A mother? So why? A mother loves you the most. So you can use a mother as a speaker. So what will be your answer for that task? So you can you answer? I'll copy your answer, okay? So my mother, good. My mother. And what will be the word to connect? Sorry, word to report. Okay, told me. Me, you need me because she's talking to you. That's fine. And then how can you connect? Oh, using that. Good. That. I, who is I? Mother. Good. She. You're right to choose the correct pronoun this time. Good. And what changes can you make? Can changes into could. Brilliant answer. She could lose. And what next? The world easily. Good. The world easily. And then? But not you. But not you. Oh, yes, but not me. Right? So this time we are changing you into me. Why? Because you is something referring to me, myself, and the word is by the end of the sentence that comes as object. Good. So what next? What can be the answer for I hope you will fulfill my dream and I will be a great person. So I hope you will fulfill my dream and will be a great person. Who might tell that sentence? Oh, your father. So what your response to this will be? My father told me that, very good. He, very good, hoped. Hoped. H-O-P-E-D. Yes, good. I, because you is there, very good. Would, yes, brilliant, fulfill my dream. No, his dream. Good, good, yes. So quick to correct yourself. And will we, would we, good, would be a great person. Thank you, students. So rest of the order, these are your task for tomorrow. And you have to bring it as homework. And I will check with if there are certain mistakes, right? And I know you can do because you have responded so well in the class. So what I suggest you is I will have a quick summary of whatever we did today. So firstly, we looked at, what did we look at first? So we talked about Neil Armstrong, and then we discussed about what changes we made. Then we moved on to the table, and in the table we had certain observation about how to change direct speech into indirect speech, and we had certain discussion on that, and discussing on them, on those questions, we found out certain changes in verb, in pronouns and connectors, and then in tense, and finally changes in the adverbials, right? And after talking to them, talking about them, what did we do? We practiced exercise 1, and we changed all those sentences into indirect speech. Finally, we practiced 2 from the exercise number 2, and this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences are there. You have to find out who is the speaker and report them, okay? So I hope you enjoyed the lesson today. Have a great time. Bye-bye. See you in the next lesson. Thank you very much.